from wrapping gift baskets at his parents' garage to appearing on Oprah's Magazine. How is this guy making $30 million a year selling mainly fruit?
We ship about 1,500 gifts a day.
Discover how losing almost everything turned into the opportunity of a lifetime.
It really hurt the business. We lost a lot of money, and it almost took us out. Just over $1 million to the bottom line.
Whoa. Uncover the 3 keys to scaling faster than you ever thought possible.
You really can't scale from 1 to 5 to 10 to 30 million unless you do those things.
And at last, the one move that turned a small family business into an empire.
Our first order came in within the first 15 minutes.
Wow. All right, Scott, before we get to your story, tell us a little bit about this amazing historic building, this amazing train, and where the heck is it taking us?
So you're at the historic Mount Hood Railroad. It was built in 1906, so it's very vintage.
So cool.
And you're seeing the train behind us. It's been restored in a lot of ways, so it's just beautiful inside. And we're basically in downtown Hood River. So this is how people came to Hood River back in the day. And where it takes people now, because it's primarily a tourist train, is up into the beautiful Hood River Valley amongst all the vineyards and fruit orchards, and that's where it's going to stop at the fruit company, another company we own. It was built in the 30s, and people get to go in and experience the smell and the taste and the sight of everything that's going on there, where we actually build the baskets. We ship 400,000 gift baskets around the country, so that kind of gives you an idea of the volume, yeah.
And since you mentioned about the fruit company that we're going to, how many acres are we talking about? Tell us a little bit about the scale of the operation that we're looking at, like the fruits you grow, the locations, etc.
So the Hood River Valley is 16,000 acres of agricultural fruit orchards, and we operate about 650 acres of orchard, mostly pears, but we have cherries as well and blueberries. It's one of the most gorgeous valleys in America. You have 2 snow-capped year-round mountains at either end, even in the summer when it's in the 80s and 90s.
How much does a train ride like this cost, and how many visitors have you been seeing last year, this year, and where do you want to be eventually?
Yeah, last year we had about 32,000 customers ride the train. Not just the train, we have these other experiences too. But most of that traffic was train traffic. This year we're on track to do about 55,000. So we're super excited about it. And we believe where they end up in Pine Grove, at that facility, we're hoping someday to have about 1 million people come through.
That would be epic.
That's the goal.
A million visitors.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, why don't we hop on the train? Come with us, you guys. Watch your head. We are on about a 45-minute train ride?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think the question that begs itself is, you are initially in the fruit business, or were, and then you decided to get into the tourism train business. Help our audience understand how that came about.
Yeah, so about 20 years ago, we had this grand vision of the Mount Hood Railroad stopping at our company, not ever thinking we'd ever own the Mount Hood Railroad.
So you already thought about that.
Yeah, and the Mount Hood Winery also was part of that discussion, where we thought it'd be really cool to have all these experiences that the train could stop at and other people just in their cars. And so when this came about as an opportunity, it was kind of random, but it was during the economy, during the pandemic, when this business really had a hard time.
They got really hit hard.
Yeah, and so they started to hemorrhage a little bit. So that's when it came to my attention, and it's about 1.5 years working through the details, but we were able to get it. And it's really added something to the business, because our whole goal is to have people come and experience the fruit industry, experience the gift-giving process.
Anything scary or exciting to you about the hospitality business, because you're new to it?
Well, I think for the brand, it's really great, because the more senses you can touch when people are having these experiences, the more they're going to have a love affair with your brand. When we bring people up, and it starts in the train with
the river,
with beautiful river, the experience, and then they get up to this fruit industry and they smell the fruit and they get to feel it, they get to taste it. They all leave wanting to send gifts. And so, when we send that Christmas catalog out every Christmas, we're touching all these people that just love the brand now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can you give us an idea on the revenue that your businesses are bringing in, just in general?
Yeah, you bet. So we're hoping this year the forecast is for about 34 million.
Wow.
And that's
incredible.
all together, all three enterprises. The bulk of that is with the fruit company, the gifting business that sends 400,000 gifts around the country.
Okay.
And then the orchards fluctuates quite a bit because it's farming. So like you can have good years, bad years. And then the railroad is on a real steady growth track with all the different experiences.
Where do you expect the railroad specifically, since we're on the train, to be by end of this year?
We're hoping for about 4.3 million. Last year we're at 2.5.
Gotcha.
So that's how
great
we're
growth.
Yeah, and where we're seeing a lot of growth is not just in the railroad itself, the train, but these rail bikes that we do. So the rail bikes have been really, people just love riding those.
How did you get into the world of fruit farming?
Yeah.
What's your experience been? I know there's a story behind that, so.
Sure. So my grandparents, Leroy and Olive Webster, moved out in 1942. And they were in their early 40s, and they had been on their honeymoon in their early 20s here, and they fell in love with it. So it took them 20 years to get out. But Grandpa and Grandma didn't have any money, and Grandpa's boss was in the fruit industry off the Hudson Bay in New York City. And so he basically floated a blank checkbook to come out and buy orchards in the Hood River Valley. And once my grandparents paid it back, they got 50% of it. So they always had 50% partners until 1997 when we came back to the business and bought them out.
What are some initial lessons maybe that have carried over to you from your grandfather and father and so on?
Yeah, I think for me, you know, I grew up in this beautiful area and working on the farm. At an early age, my dad had me out there changing pipes and digging ditches for water canals.
It's a good thing for a teenager, right?
It was actually really great. It taught me the value of hard work and enjoying what we do, which is being in the outdoors farming.
For sure. It's no secret Scott had the privilege of taking over his family's orchard, but growing it to an 8-figure business, that's a whole different story. So it begs the question, is entrepreneurship nurtured or natured? Leave us your comments below and we'll ask Scott the same question later on in the episode.
Welcome to Pine Grove.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good lunch.
Appreciate it. This is beautiful. I mean, look at the scenery.
Isn't that pretty?
Wow,
Just lovely.
what a spot. Well, this is a beautiful building. What a beautiful
you.
setup. I love all the historic photos, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Is that the actual building right there?
Yeah, that's a picture of 500 people building this building in 30 days.
Back to these amazing gift boxes. How many varieties do you have? How many of these boxes are you shipping on a daily basis? What does sales fluctuate like? Just give us an idea.
Most of our sales are between 10 different gifts. And those are the ones we go long on and that we have the best value in. But we have over 100 SKUs. Because we're the fruit company, we have lots of different just straight boxes of fruit, peaches, nectarines, pears, apples.
How much are you selling per day?
If you took an average of the whole year, we ship about 1,500 gifts a day. But most of our sales come November, December. We're really a Christmas business. So we'll ship probably 75 to 80% of all of our gifts will ship in those 8 weeks.
What were some of the early challenges in the operation of the business? Can you share some specific ones and kind of what you learned, how you overcame them?
Yeah, we started out in the basement of my parents' home. And we were packaging the gifts in our parents' garage. So we were all right there in the home.
Tight spaces.
And we started to grow out of that. And one of the biggest challenges was how do we afford to get into a bigger setup for us? And we found this building. And this building was owned by Diamond Fruit Growers. It was just a junkyard. So it had terrible curb appeal. And we got such a good deal on this. We were only using the very front corner of the metal shed, but we have not had any struggles with growth because of it. We've just had, it's 160,000 square feet.
Massive.
And we have this beautiful gift shop now that's taken advantage of all this 1930s architecture. But yeah, at the time we didn't need it, but the price was right.
Gotcha.
And so like the price made it almost worth it just for a much smaller space within the building.
Wow. But this is like many years ago, obviously, right?
Yeah, it was 2003.
Many might say after hearing your story that, success came from a privilege that your family provided. What do you say to them? What do you think about that in general?
There's definitely some truth to that. Like we had a family business that we were able to take over. And we weren't just
early on too, right?
Early
1940s.
on, yeah, that was when it was established. But when we came back in the late 90s as the third generation, my parents hadn't saved a lot because they had 8 kids. And so we had to pay full value for half their business because it was owned by another family.
I see.
So they just had a market assessment done. We paid full value. And then for their half, we paid almost full value. So we took on a lot of debt. So I would say to your question, yeah, it was a privilege to have a business that we could buy from our parents, but we had to pay all that debt off over time.
So if I don't come from a place of privilege, do you think this is a business anyone can get into and start packaging fruit, buy from someone else and ship it just like you?
I do, and the reason why I'd say that is we live in an economy now where we have this huge baby boomer that's trying to get out of their businesses and not enough people to take them over. So there's lots of opportunities out there if you're someone that can present themselves well and have a good business plan to be able to come in and have an opportunity like I had with my parents.
What about the rules that you mentioned off camera? I think it's be worth mentioning to our viewers as well.
Yeah. So my parents had 8 children, And they had 4 kind of requirements for any of them to come back.
Come back to where?
Come back to the business.
Okay.
The first one was you had to have real passion for the business. A lot of us did because we grew up in farming and we did, we loved the lifestyle, we loved the work. But you also had to get your 4-year degree. You had to go work somewhere for 2 years. They knew that would give them a lot of confidence to have a degree and to have experience outside the business. And then the 4th thing was it had to be a kid that they thought would be good for the business. At the end of the day, it was my brother Addison and I that came back and then worked out a deal where we bought the business from them.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go and show you guys what's part of this building. It's not just the beautiful entrance that we saw. This is the gift shop. Can we take a look at the actual factory where the things are getting packaged up?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll follow you in. You're the boss.
Here we go.
All right. So this is where all the packaging happens.
Yeah.
How many square feet are we talking about?
It's about 160,000 square feet, yeah.
What about monthly expenses, Scott? Like, what does it take to run a place like this?
The fruit company, it's about just over $1 million a month, basically. That's the average for the whole year.
Biggest expense on that is, my guess, like labor?
Yeah, I would say if you took the biggest buckets, it's going to be labor first, and then fruit, and then the main containers, materials for the baskets and the towers.
All right, let's do blitz time with Scott. You ready?
Sure.
What's one fruit you don't currently grow but wish you could?
Ooh, pluouts.
Pluouts?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
It's a cross between a plum and a apricot, and they're awesome.
What kind of inventory do you keep and how do you maintain it?
Most of our fruit baskets have either a wicker basket or a beautiful tower print. Yeah, at our peak, we'll have about $5 million of inventory in-house.
Whoa. You have Halloween, the Polar Express Christmas train, but what's a seasonal event for the tourism business that you're hoping to expand into?
Yeah, there's not a lot I can say about it right now, but
special.
we're about to have an announcement from Warner Brothers Studios with a new run, and we can't talk about it, but it's going to be pretty exciting.
That is exciting. Yeah. Okay, what's the most you've sold in a single month?
It's just over 10 million in top line revenue.
That is amazing. If you could go back and have a convo with your grandfather who founded the Webster Family Orchard and ask him one question, what would it be?
I would probably ask him, wasn't there another way to keep all that acreage that you had instead of selling it off in the early 70s?
Oh, yeah.
So he had a much larger orchard operation, but he got into some trouble and had to sell quite a bit of it off.
Gotcha. That's a great question. How's the fruit farming business impacted by the ebbs and flows of the economy at large?
Very affected. So farming actually does pretty good when the economy's down. The picking of the harvest and what we get from the retailers, that's pretty good. That usually goes up. But the gifting industry, when the economy's bad, that really goes down. And it pretty much comes to disposable income.
Yep.
So when people are buying a gift basket, they're buying a gift for someone else, not themselves. When the economy's bad, they spend more of that money on themselves, buying food and groceries versus gifting, their loved ones.
What would be 3 must-include items in Scott Webster's personal non-fruit gift basket? Okay.
Well, I'd probably do beef jerky.
All right.
And I would do a chocolate-covered item, but it does have fruit. It has a dried pear. But this chocolate-covered camise we do is incredible, and I would put that in every gift. What would be the 3rd thing? Probably custom ribbon. So we can do custom ribbon, and if I'm sending it to my brother, I might do kind of a joke on it, so he'd get a good laugh at it.
Okay. Is there a fruit you can't stand the taste of?
Yeah, a chamoya. And you can't eat the seeds because they're poisonous.
Good way to wrap up. Let's go.
All right.
You don't have to own an orchard to know that your business's success depends on your ability to plan for the future. But with data from HR, inventory, finances, etc., it can be hard to answer key questions. Will rates rise or fall? What will profits look like next quarter? Do we need to hire? But with NetSuite by Oracle, you don't have to pick and choose. NetSuite is the #1 cloud business management software designed to give you real-time insights into your financials, inventory, and operations so you have the tools to take charge of your future. It's why over 40,000 businesses have used NetSuite to eliminate guesswork and get a clear view of what's coming next. If I needed to know which parts of my business are ripe and which are rotten, then this is the product I'd use. Whether your company's earning millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite helps you respond to immediate challenges and seize your biggest opportunities. Speaking of opportunity, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/UpFlip. The guide is free to you at netsuite.com/UpFlip, netsuite.com/UpFlip. How do you ensure freshness, quality? I mean, dealing with a perishable product, what systems and processes do you have in place to make sure that that's the case?
Yeah, that's where it helps to be a grower, because we know how to grow this fruit. We know when it's harvested. It's a lot about cold chain management. So
Never heard of that.
The worst thing you can do to a piece of fruit is warm it up, cool it off, warm it up, cool it off. Every time you do that, it's what's known as firing up that fruit. It's going to start wanting to ripen.
Gotcha.
So if you can control that cold chain, then that fruit is going to be in much better shape when it rides across the country to the front door of the loved one.
Right off the tree into the cold storage.
Yep.
Doesn't move there until it's packaged and delivered to my house 2 days later.
That's right. We'll sit in cold storage for time, but we keep it right at 32 degrees that whole time. And when you bring it in to a production facility like this, it's really important that you keep the temperature low too. So we try to bring out just what we need, get it in that box, into the UPS truck, and off to its destination.
Do you have some kind of a grading system? Because not every fruit looks the same. You know, retailers and grocers don't even take fruits that don't look perfect.
That's right. It's a very important question, because you look at our grade and it's higher than even the grocery store. So the grocery stores are buying what's called US #1 grade or export grade. So the stuff that goes to Japan is export. That's even a higher grade than US #1.
Oh, wow,
but US #1's pretty dang good. So we'll try to buy export grade. If it's not available, we'll buy US #1, and then we grade it here. So the first thing we do with that fruit when it comes into our building is we take this beautiful pack that's perfectly good for the United States retail, and we'll cull out another 14% of that box to make sure we have gift grade.
Wow. What's the first step for an entrepreneur to successfully scale their business to new heights?
If you really want to scale, you got to simplify the processes. And processes, a lot of entrepreneurial type companies don't want to hear, because it's like, we used to be nimble. Now you have these processes we have to follow, and we could make decisions better on the fly, but you really can't scale this thing from 1 to 5 to 10 to 30 million unless you do those things. And so, like, if you look at the orchard operation, for example, my dad used to have 4 different types of tractors. Well, over the last 10 years, we now just have one type of tractor. We have 14 of them. You change the oil the same on every one of them.
Between all of your enterprises and locations, how big is your team? And I'm sure it changes, right? Low season, high season.
Yeah, because we're so peak driven. If you take the peak and the off peak, it's 176 full-time equivalent employees.
Wow.
But if you just take the off peak, it's about 80 employees. I would say the top team, you've got the executive staff of 4, and then each company has an operations manager.
That's right, okay.
And then beyond that, you've got people that are handling key accounts. So there's just, you know, in the 3 enterprises, the executive staff has basically recognized like 12 employees that are key to moving the company forward. That would be harder to replace than everyone under them.
For sure.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're enjoying this episode like I am, do us a huge favor, hit that like and subscribe button so that we can continue to bring you amazing, incredible, inspirational stories from amazing entrepreneurs such as Scott. Really cool designs, by the way, on everything. Is that an in-house designer or?
It is. It's a designer that we've worked with for over 16 years now, and he works on all 3 companies that we have.
Well, let's go check out actually where they put the boxes together with fruits.
Okay.
I want to see that process.
Let's do it.
How much do these baskets go for? Give us an average retail price, and then the gross profit margins. Let's start with that.
Yeah, so we start out with a fairly affordable basket. You know, you can get a basket for 39 bucks. The average order, though, which is about $130 worth of product. And so we have baskets. The most expensive basket goes up to about 299 bucks. That's just a huge monster. And our margin on all baskets are about depends on who it's with. If it's a wholesale client, it's closer to the 20s, 30s. If it's a retail client or customer, it's going to be 50 to 60%.
Wow. Those are great margins.
Gross margins.
And then is there a certain box that sells for more with a higher profit margins and others that go for less? Why is that? Obviously the fruit inside, or is it demand driven, or?
When we choose the manifest of different SKUs that we sell each year, there's 10 SKUs that we go long on. And the reason why that's so great is we can afford to get kind of the bulk buys. I mean, every gift is a little bit cheaper, all the material. So we're able to give the best value in about 10 gifts. And those happen to be the gifts with the best margin too, because we're buying, you know, tens of thousands of them.
Let's talk about attracting new customers, as it is today? And then how's marketing evolved in the business?
We're taking a real different approach in attracting customers, and that's part of the reason why we've focused so much on tourism, is we feel like if we can get the tourists in here to experience our brand, they're gonna leave with this love affair with the brand.
As far as marketing, social media platforms, what's giving you the best return? When specifically? Can you speak to that a little bit more and elaborate?
Yeah, we started out 20-something years ago on a platform called Go-To. This was when the internet was just coming in. Google wasn't around.
Oh, wow.
And that quickly turned into Google's pay-per-click model. That's what we use mostly. Today, again, we're trying to grow it more organically, but we're moving more of those funds we used to use for Google over to Meta. Yeah, and Meta is such a better deal, at least right now. It probably won't be 2 years from now, but it is, the ROI is way higher on Meta than it is Google. In Meta, it's about 300%.
Wow. What's your spend, especially during that time?
We spend over $1 million on marketing. Yeah.
$1 million on marketing across the 12-month period.
Across the 12-month
Or
period.
do you pump 8 of it in December, November?
Most of it is spent in the holiday because that is your best ROI month.
My goodness.
Because people are buying gifts. In fact, we've really pulled off spending marketing as much in the off season because it just costs more.
Yeah.
It costs more to get someone to send a gift to someone than it does during Christmas. We have a catalog too. That's very important. So we send out about 500,000 catalogs to the best customers.
It's expensive too, right? Print advertising.
Yeah, mailing, all
but
that.
Holding something in your hand feels good and tangible.
The catalog's just really a marketing piece to get them to go, oh yeah, I got to get my gifts in.
Right.
Then they go to their computer or their phone, and that's where they're making their orders.
Wow. It's not bad. I mean, you guys spend money to make money.
Yep.
Right? 34 million expected for end of 2024.
Yeah, that's
a small percentage of total gross.
True statement. That's one of the places where you can get really into trouble though, is spending too much money to make money. So it's a real balancing act.
So your gifts have a variety of other products in there, which is really cool. Not just fruits that you grow, you purchase other fruits as well from other places, but not just fruits, smoked salmon, chocolate.
Yeah.
How do you package it together for just a wonderful gift? Because you could have some extra things in there and people are like, I don't need this or I don't like this.
The most important thing to us is that we get best-in-class products. Like we don't want anything in that gift basket that's doesn't taste great, doesn't look great. And so we run it through kind of a committee process, and it's hard to get your stuff into our stuff. But if it makes it, it means it's very high quality. Everyone's kind of agreed that it is.
What's your secret to working really well with family members? And why do you think so many family partnerships could fail easily?
Communication, having really open communication is key there. I think if each family member works really hard, and I always tell my kids, look, you're the boss's kid, right? So like if you want to come back to the business to get the faith of all the workers, you got to work hard. You want them to see you working hard. So as long as you're working hard, you don't have to be the highest IQ. Like I think you'll demand some respect if you're a hard worker.
You ready to get out of here, get some air?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's continue the conversation outside.
Okay.
What is the story on this building before we dive back into the questions? Because it's, 100 plus years old?
Well, it was actually built in 1936.
1930,
so, but it's getting close to 100, and it's a beautiful building. It was built in 30 days by 500 men.
That's a pretty cool fact.
Yeah, before they had all the different regulations. But it's an old coal storage plant. The walls are very thick, very insulated. It has actually shavings as its insulation. So it stays between 45 and 55 year round regardless of how hot or cold it gets.
Nice, and that's kind of what you need for packing fruit and
right.
maintaining quality.
Yep.
Awesome. By the way, the area here is absolutely amazing. We've got Hood over there, right?
Yep.
And then what's the other mountain?
And then Mount Adams in Washington State.
Beautiful. So you have thousands of 5-star customer reviews. Let's talk about kind of your approach to great customer service and maybe hint on if there are unhappy customers too. How do you go about that?
Yeah, you're always going to have some customers that have a bad experience.
Absolutely.
And we kind of pride ourselves in our satisfaction. We're always looking at the reviews.
That's a big
Every
deal.
week we're reading them all as a team. We're looking at them. So when we have a customer that has a problem, it's pretty much a no questions asked. We're going to refund you. We're going to reship it, whatever you want. And we've got a great customer service team. They're one of the most valuable assets we have, and it's all about customer satisfaction in the end.
Absolutely. So because of the obvious agriculture factor of your business, right? There's big risks, the weather, the seasonality. Can you share with us an experience that you as an entrepreneur went through that was maybe challenging, a setback, but really how you learned to get through that, overcome it, and what's the lesson for other entrepreneurs, maybe not necessarily in the ag world?
You bet. So we've had twice over our 27 years where we lost a lot of money. And one of them was in '08 during the credit crisis. We're really a Christmas fourth quarter business. So when that happened in fall, it really hurt the business. And I think we lost just over $1 million to the bottom line.
Whoa.
And it almost took us out. One of the things that I'll never forget, an old business partner of my father, he said, if you want to build a financial fortress, you should save 20% of your net earnings every year and just put it in a lockbox. Put it in something very safe and liquid. Mm-hmm. And so from that time forward, from '08 forward, we've done that. We're now at a point where, we can look at the storms coming and we can weather that. And that's probably the best advice I'd give any entrepreneur.
You know very well as an entrepreneur that entrepreneurialism comes with this pressure to succeed. So what are some techniques for you personally over the last 25 years that have helped you find success, overcome this pressure, and anything else you want to add?
I think the most important thing is who you have as leaders in your company. You've got to have some key people that you can really rely on. I actually use my wife a lot too. Jamie, my wife, has just been so wise and smart with her counsel she's given me. And so she's probably the most important employee as I see it in the company. And I've got a couple on my executive staff that are just wonderful counselors.
What's the secret to effectively delegating so that a company can continue to efficiently operate and, of course, continue to scale? What are some tips there?
When you start a business, you've got to be kind of a micromanager. You've got to be able to wear a bunch of different hats.
Makes sense, yeah.
And as you get bigger, the challenge for a lot of entrepreneurs is being able to go from that micro person to more of a macro manager and to find really good hires.
True. Nobody likes to be micromanaged.
People need flexibility to be creative and do their thing, but it's really hard to grow unless you simplify that business and have processes in place. So it's not a perfect science. Like every business, it's kind of like a marriage. It's a very unique fingerprint. The people that you have are going to make all the difference on how successful you're going to be.
All right. Well, it's time to go ride the Orchard Tram.
The Orchard Tram,
right? Let's go check it out.
Awesome.
Well, I don't know how to drive this thing. I'm sure I can, but I'll let you.
Yeah, I will. I'll take over from here.
Thank you, sir. Let's do it.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm the only passenger of the day for now. For now. All right. Well, we just kind of went through a sprinkler world. Literally, look at Scott. He got watered a little bit, but that's part of being an orchard farmer. This row looks like it's been picked already. How does that work? Just curious. Yeah,
we just started harvest just a couple weeks ago, and the trees that are picked, they're a variety called Bartlett's, and this is a big camise block, so we'll get some shots in front of some of these loaded camise trees here in a second.
How many acres are we talking about?
Agricultural acreages, we have about 1,000 acres all in, and pears, we have roughly 400 acres.
All right, so your businesses have been featured in shows like The Bachelorette, which is pretty cool. Also, the Oprah Magazine, right? Specifically, can you share a little bit about how those experiences came about and what did they do to the business as far as the brand? Anything else you want to highlight?
Yeah, it was kind of random, both of them. So we got a call from Oprah Magazine saying that they had silent shopped us, and they were doing, a lot of people are aware of their holiday gift guide. That was a huge growth period because not only did we make her holiday gift guide, but we were the front cover.
Wow.
So we went from that year 8,000 gifts to 24,000 gifts. It was a huge growth
Just because of that exposure?
Mostly because of that.
What about The Bachelorette?
Bachelorette was another kind of random call in, and they had seen these new rail bikes that we do on the railroad, and they wanted to initially do the Bachelorette coming up on those rail bikes. They decided not to last minute because it was cold, so they shot it all in the bar car. For
a large organization such as yours, there's a lot of people involved, right? Different kind of personality. So the question that I have is, how do you as a leader ensure that every person is in the right role?
There's a lot of truth to being on the right seat of the bus, right?
Right.
Some people are going to do better in some areas than others, and so you really want to do that. You want to get people in an area where they can be successful. That's your main job as a leader and as a manager, is helping people be successful, right? And then the other thing is, I often refer to it as you got to be able to swim with the school of fish here. Like, you can't be this outlier that's always having trouble.
Good point.
People need to learn to work together. It's never going to be perfect, but Like if you can keep everyone together and in unity, you're going to run a much tighter ship and better business.
So you've made some big bets over the last years that have paid off. So what do you tell entrepreneurs that need to build a tolerance for risk, right?
Yeah.
And what does it mean to bet on yourself?
I think you've got to believe in what you're doing, and then you've got to have, I kind of think it's just kind of in you. You either have it or you don't with being able to take risks. And ultimately you got to be willing to fail. And so you can't be worried about that. And I think that's part of who I am. Like when I do something, I feel like it's going to be successful or I wouldn't do it. And I think there's a part of me that kind of likes the adventure. So like, and if you lose it,
The challenge of it.
it's not over. You can start again. You can do something else. And I think if you're kind of programmed that way, I think you'll take those risks.
All right, so we're at a different orchard
Yes.
that has a different pear, which is interesting, right?
We're in an orchard that has a pear called a seckle pear.
Okay.
And there's some of the guys calling for tractors to come pick up their load. And
Nice.
so we're going to go out there and we're going to do some picking.
All right, let's do it. First and foremost, I want to make sure I'm picking the right way. Do we twist these
Yeah.
things off, or what's the trick?
How you do it is you take the pear in your hand and you just lift it up towards the sky,
Oh, that was easy.
and it comes right off.
Is that? Oh, wow. So ready to eat, or still going to be a little while before people can munch on this thing?
It will go to cold storage. This is considered a winter pear,
Yep.
so it has to be brought down to temperature for about 3 weeks.
Pretty cold.
Yeah, and so we'll get it down to 32 degrees, and then it will ship to the local grocer and
Ripened
people-
by then?
Yep.
Because right now you probably don't want to taste it.
No.
Okay.
And then even when you buy it out of the store, pears have to ripen, and so usually you'll let them sit on your counter for a couple days, and they'll ripen right up.
Looking back to see how far your business has grown from your grandfather to you, do you have any regrets as an entrepreneur?
You know, it's been a wild ride. It's been so fun. I don't feel like I've worked a day in my life because
That's amazing.
I have so much flexibility and it's fun. And the one that I would say if I had any regret was my brother went through a terrible divorce and he was my partner when we started this. Would there have been a different way we could have done that where he could have remained in the business? And that's probably the thing I regret the most. Just the
Appreciate
whole
you
family
sharing.
element
Yeah.
to it.
Guys, let's see our progress. Literally, how
There
long
we
was
go.
this?
Go ahead,
See
start out
how
kind of-
well you did, Scott, compared to me. Oh,
Oh, look at that.
I think you got a few extra ones there. Got a little bit
Nice,
more
good
experience
job.
under his belt for sure.
Good job.
Question for you, and this
Yeah.
is about failure. Why do you think most businesses fail? Like, what's one thing you wish you would have known that every aspiring entrepreneur should hear?
I think a big one though is focus. So like if you don't
Like
have
that.
the right focus, entrepreneurs tend to want to do everything. Like, oh, we can make money this way and we can make money that way. And you don't want to extend yourself too thin. You got to have focus, or that's probably the number one reason why people end up going out of business is they don't have that focus on a product or service.
As your children come of age and
Yeah.
presumably follow in the same footsteps as you have, what would be some of the Webster quote-unquote family wisdom that you'd like to impart on them?
I think you just got to have fun with what you're doing. If you don't have a passion for what you're doing, you got to do what you do have passion for. So I hope all my kids come back. I think the wisdom for them would be, let's find your own area in the company. Let's not, you got to kind of make your own path in life, whether you're in a family business or not. So I would encourage them to find a segment of our business that they can really excel in and take it from this to that.
And make it their own?
Yeah, make
Yeah.
it their own.
All right, let's talk about the second key to effectively scaling, which is hiring the right people, right?
That's probably the most challenging thing we do is finding those key personnel.
Labor's always the most challenging.
It's not a perfect science. Like we have a great group, and I'm the first to tell you that is the most important asset we have is our people.
For sure.
One of the things I do when I look at a resume, the number one thing I look at, I just skip right down to how many years they've stayed at places. So if I see someone
That's a
that
good point.
skipped around, chances are they're just going to be with you for a year or two and they're going on to the next thing.
That's a big one.
If you're with someone that's 5 to 7 years, that is a key indicator that it's someone that's going to probably last.
You have a great relationship with a massive retailer like Costco. Can you share with us some tips on what it takes to build relationships like that once you're at your level, maybe earlier on and so on?
Yeah, so we've shipped with Costco for 14 years now.
Whoa.
And what takes a good relationship with any big box retailer or retailer is just the quality and the service. And we're historically less than 0.5% exceptions with anything that we ship for them, which is phenomenal.
What does that mean for those that don't know?
It just means that even
how
when
much
you
comes
give
back?
even when you give it to UPS and then it has to travel to the front door of the recipient, how many problems are you going to have? And we have 1 out of every 200 shipments, there's a problem. And that's built into the cost, so we just make it right with the customer, but it's the nature of mail order, right?
Right.
If you can maintain a really high level of service there, that's how you keep any retailer very engaged with you.
Are you ready to bring your startup dreams to life? The UpFlip Academy offers step-by-step blueprints from real, active business owners who've been there, done that. Learn how to attract customers, build a solid team, and scale your business with step-by-step guidance. Hear from pros like Brandon Vaughn, who has started over 12 businesses and earns millions without day-to-day oversight because of implementing exceptional systems, and Vlad Kuksenko, who's made $3 million in just 3 short years on Etsy. Don't miss out. Sign up for free today. Let's talk about the third key to scaling as quickly, successfully as possible.
Yeah.
And that is basically finding opportunity in a crisis. These really difficult times that everybody's going to witness at some point and go through. What's been your experience and journey, and give us your advice on that?
You know, there's always opportunity in crisis, because you got to understand, you're having a crisis, there's probably a lot of other people having a crisis too.
You're not the only one,
Yeah, so it's usually in a downturn in the economy or whatever it might be. You know, when we had our really bad 2008 year, the opportunity was expanding the orchard. So the fruit company's gifting company did bad, but then a lot of people were hemorrhaging, and we had opportunities to go in and buy up properties from foreclosed bank opportunities and expand the orchard operation. So we were able to get things much cheaper. It's a great time too to get great employees, because when you have an economic crisis, you have a lot of people jumping ship. So like if you can get in a strong position, it's a great opportunity to get the most important asset that's out there, and that's human capital.
What's the one piece of financial advice that every entrepreneur can use to build a financial empire of their own?
You know, it's hard the first and second year you're trying to start the business, but as soon as possible, you got to learn to be very conservative in putting, in my opinion, 20% away of your net earnings every year and don't touch it. It's hard to do because you're always plowing most of your earnings back into just growth opportunities. But if you can learn to do that, it's amazing after 10 years how that builds.
Oh, wow.
And then
Weather the storm.
Yeah, and then you're weathering any storm that comes along.
But what about, Scott, the opinion of, like, you know, leaving money in a checking account is just the most foolish thing to do?
I wouldn't do that.
Because it's not earning you anything. So what funds would you put that 20% in over 10 years if you were new starting out?
Well, you could do a mix of things. Once it gets big enough, you can start being the bank. You can start lending to yourself. That's the magic of doing that over time.
That's a great idea.
But until then, you know, there's a lot of instruments now. If you listen to like Warren Buffett, I mean, he believes in index funds. Those are very liquid, very broad-based. You're going to get an average of 10% return.
Right.
So like that's, you know, get an index fund, stick it in, and just watch it grow, and then eventually become your own bank and borrow from it.
So other than revenue, Scott, what other metrics that you're mostly proud of in the company that really signal success?
Yeah, I think there's 2. One is longevity of employees. How long is your average employee working for you? And we have some that have been from the very beginning.
Wow, 27 years.
Yeah, and then the most important metric is customer reviews and satisfaction. So
for sure.
Right now in our tourism experiences, all 6 that you can do, we're at a 4.93.
That's awesome. Good, incredible team of people that you have working with you. Leadership as well. That's where it all starts with you. So that's awesome to see the fruits of all that labor.
No problem.
Scott, what is it about this specific location, Hood River, Oregon, that makes everything grow so well?
It's unique microclimate. So you've got the mountain that's running off cold, perfect water. So pears love it. They love hot days and cool nights. Yeah.
Besides pears, what else are you growing? You said you grow 9 varieties of pears, and the rest of the orchards, what are they?
Yeah, so we have cherries, and in the cherries we have about 11 varieties.
Wow.
And then we have blueberries, and we grow them up in the upper valley where it's cooler to try to hit that late blueberry market.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can you share with us some of the daily routines and how they change from peak season to low season, and maybe highlight any specific habits as an entrepreneur that have helped you see the success you're seeing today?
Yeah. So all 3 of our businesses are peak-driven businesses, and we basically start in June and go through Christmas for our peaks.
Gotcha.
And it's one of the coolest things I get to be a part of, because we all get to be these Santa Clauses as we're building people's gifts and sending it to
Santa and the elf.
Yeah, but that's you know, my daily routine. It does change when you get into those peak seasons, because you're out in the orchard more during harvest. You're on the floor more during the peak of gift building. During the off-peak season, the first 6 months of the year, we're doing a lot of planning. But my day always starts with an executive team call. We're making sure we're all on the same page, and then just checking on managers at next level, seeing how things are going, if they need anything, making sure we're there to make sure they're successful.
So your brother Addison, right there's a picture of you guys, started this with you, worked together for 10 years, and in 2008, due to some personal struggles, left.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the experience of working with your brother partner to then going solo. What were some of the fears you were struggling with? How did you overcome them?
Yeah.
What's your advice maybe to some watching going through the same thing?
He was not only my brother, he's probably my best friend, and he and I got together almost every day laughing. We'd end the meetings just laughing our guts out, but had a great time building the business with him. He was a very integral part of that. It's a very hard thing to go through. He went through a divorce. Through that, he exited the business, and it felt like I was going through that divorce too, with that experience.
Must be really tough.
I thought he'd come back. He ended up not, and so it was tough. Now, with that said, there were some interesting things that came out from that, because as we were growing the business in our first 10 years, being kind of equal partners, it was harder to navigate all the employee management issues. And when it was just one person, and he would be the first to tell you this, it actually got simpler in a way. You didn't have employees playing you off each other.
I see.
So it was just a much cleaner level of management and hierarchy in the business. And so in some ways it ran, I think, more smoothly, but I would never want to go through that again if I had to, and I would prefer it never happened. I wish he was here with me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you price fruits? And what would be the most expensive time for me to buy a pear?
It really comes out to how big the crop was the prior year. So if you had a huge harvest, oversupply, fruit's going to be cheap. If you have a real light harvest, fruit's going to be really expensive. So it's really just simple supply, demand economics.
What do you like the least about how things are today when it comes to supply and demand in the agricultural world?
I think we've had a consolidation of retailers. So there used to be, 20 different retailers out there, and now there's 6 that are the major ones.
That's not good.
And so we have less competition, and so they have a lot of power in driving the price down, and certainly have all the power when you've got oversupply. So I think, that's one of the challenges. Is it would be nice to see some antitrust, government policy that kind of broke companies up that got too big. That's I think one of the bigger challenges right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's not the only industry we're seeing that in, but in others as well. But appreciate the insight.
Yeah.
We love asking the book questions. So what would be your books recommendations, biggest takeaway maybe from one of them?
I think probably the one that's been most influential in my career and my life has been the Bible.
Yeah, we've gotten that answer many times.
So there's the things that you learn in that book are all these great values, and you treat people well like you would want to be treated, and if you take that book to heart, you're gonna do, I think, really well in your career. Yeah.
What has reaching this level of success meant for you in your personal life? Because 27 years ago, there's probably luxuries that you never thought you could have afforded that today, by God's grace and all the hard labor, it's not a hard thing to do.
I think one of the things that I've had happen to me is I've gotten more kind of simple as I've gotten older. So now that I'm 54, you'd think that you would enjoy this in different ways, but most of the fruits of our labor have gone back to our kids and vacations and experiences.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's probably the most important thing. That, as I've aged, I've wanted to get my life actually more simplified. So
that's cool.
And I enjoy work.
That's a good goal.
I just love coming to work and growing this. So it's a real fun venture for me.
If you loved this founder's story, then you have to check out episode 148, where Rain shares how he turned his single bicycle cart into a 7-figure-a-year exotic fruit business. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. I gotta go get picking.